Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to talk all about Battle of the Bastards. Episode 9 of Game of Thrones Season 6. Episode 9, typically the one where S goes down. And it went down. Full spoilers. So if you haven't seen the Battle of the Bastards, we're going to talk about some bastards battling. Hell of a battle, right?
That episode blew my mind. I sent Matt Fowler an email after he watched it, or after I was sure that he watched it, and I was like, can we give it a 12? Like, I fully believe that is the best episode that Game of Thrones has ever done. On, like, sheer production value alone, I think Miguel Sapochnik, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, can we just clone him and have him do every episode ever? He's the same guy who did Hard Home. He's doing the finale next week. It blew my mind. I thought that they pulled off something truly, truly impressive in this episode. And as someone who has loved fantasy my entire life, read fantasy novels, and read about these epic battles, you know, there were like a couple just scenes that this episode brought to mind where I had read these things on paper and I was like, I will never see this happen. In between Dany riding her dragons and destroying Meereen, and that just like insane battle from Jon's perspective. I was like, this is the closest that and best that has ever done to like actually bringing this fantasy spectacle to life, and it just made me really happy.
It was an amazing episode to behold. You have
more issues with it than I do.
I feel like a killjoy by saying it wasn't like, I don't think it was their best episode. I don't think it was like one of their greatest episodes, even though I thought it was a great episode. So I just keep wanting to couch on that. It was a great episode, and it was so just impressive, right?
Was it still a 10 for you?
No.
Okay.
But like it wasn't a 6 either. Like it was it was in the 9s, like maybe a lower 9. But it was a great episode, and it was just as far as what they pulled off on TV. Was really impressive. I mean, people joked a lot back in the first couple seasons that they would always have the big battles happen off camera,
right.
And a lot of that was strictly budget, right? They can't do it. They still can't do it all the time, right? But now they're nearing the end. It's a huge hit. Obviously, HBO has probably increased the budget, and once in a while they can go big. And this time, I mean, they went so big. And everything you mentioned, and we're going to talk more about Meereen later, but it's like just some of the swooping shots with her on the dragon. But then yes, the main, huge battle that happened with Jon, and just feeling like you were right there in the thick of it.
Yeah,
and the insanity of it.
The couple, single take scenes where we follow behind him. That scene, I read the interview with Miguel that Entertainment Weekly ran, which apparently that whole sequence where Jon got submerged and was trying to fight his way up to air was all off script. Was something that they didn't have the time to do what they needed to do, so they had to come up with something else. And I thought that was so visceral. Like, you never really think Jon is going to die.
Yeah.
But still,
and if he does, he'll get better.
Right. Like, it was just such a great depiction of, a battle and really putting you into it and making you feel those things. And the one thing I always felt like whenever I would read these fantasy novels is like Axis in the Wayfarer Redemption or Aragorn or someone like that. Like, why are they always the ones who win, who survive? They bring down all these people. And I feel like seeing this scene with Jon, a lot of it is luck, but also it's just like he's a great fighter and we've earned that. And I just thought like a lot of these fight sequences were really earned.
It was like sort of perfectly chaotic, right? Because there were moments where, as a viewer, I was losing track of who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, but I think that's totally appropriate, right? Because if you're in there, you're going to lose track. The fact that, showing how horrible Ramsay is, again, the fact that he was just willing to fire arrows on everyone, and so it just, puts you right there. There were parts where like Jon, like someone would grab someone and they'd be shot by an arrow, and I didn't even have time to process whether that person was like, he was grabbing him as an ally to help or as an enemy to fight, but it didn't matter.
I don't think he did either at a certain point.
I think that is the point. Like, even if you're Jon, I mean, he's our obviously main connection in there. There are other people we care about. But that's going to be what it's like for you too at a certain point. You are just surrounded by chaos and people, and it doesn't matter if it's your friend or foe, you could still be trampled to death, and I think the fact that they put you in there is a real testament and triumph of, just artistically of what they pulled off there.
And I really think, this episode could change the game for how fantasy is depicted. I haven't seen Warcraft yet, but I know there were some complaints with that movie. That's obviously another big, fantasy spectacle. But I think this episode was so well done that it's really up there with like Lord of the Rings for me in terms of how well executed the battle is and the special effects. I mean, even from the season 5 finale where, Dany riding Drogon looked like something out of a Quidditch match to like what we saw in this episode just blew me away. And obviously they're going to have to top it when they get to the end of the series.
Right.
And I don't know how they're going to do it. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, because even putting aside the fantasy element, which is much more prevalent in Marine where there's dragons involved, yeah, I mean, this was just battle. Like we were saying, they used to do it off camera most of the time, but now it's like, okay, no, we can, in special occasions, we can go all in and we can just put you in the thick of things in a way that, only sort of giant epic movies tend to do. And like, yeah, I like what you said about, I think that all those elements will come together at the end because we're all expecting some sort of giant battle against the White Walkers.
Yeah.
And that's where what we saw here will really be put to the test with the fantasy element and more fantastical things. I mean, I guess one the giant, he was part of that fight.
R.I.P.
But yeah, I think it is very exciting and they keep raising the bar and this was kind of the ultimate.
Yeah.
So what did you think? Are you as impressed as we are? I think you are. I think
how
can you not? Even if you like hated the episode for whatever writing reason, you should be like, come on, that was amazing.
It looked amazing.
It looked amazing as far as just the spectacle of it. Let us know in the comments. And now that they've raised the bar, what do you think for like going towards the series finale and what we assume is 2 years? Can they top this?